Hello traders, Rich here, and today I'm going to share 4 coins that I'm planning to add to my portfolio. As usual, if you like video analysis, smash the like button, subscribe for more, or you can even request a specific instrument or coin in the comment section below that would you like me to go over next. So let's get started. First of all, we start with the XRP. I've been personally holding this one for like 4 or 5 years, but many members requested it, so let's do it. For those who are already holding this buy, can look for re-entry opportunities to add more longs, just like what I'll be doing. Or for those who aren't holding this one yet and planning to get in, this video is for you. So first of all, for those who know that we start from the daily and weekly time frames to know where we stand in the market. Are we overall bullish, bearish, around support, resistance, and so on? And then we zoom into our time frames to get that extra confirmation and trigger. And we can clearly see that on XRP from daily time frame, we are currently overall bullish. We had this impulse, correction, big impulse, and we are currently in the corrective phase. And when we are in a bullish trend, we'll be looking for price to get in the corrective phase to be about to end, to catch what? The next impulse movement, right? But we can't really know where the correction would end and the impulse would start. It can end here, here, or the price can still go deeper, like a fake out, and then trade higher, right? That's why we don't buy blindly. We look for key rejection areas to put the odds in our favor, right? And only then we zoom into lower time frames and look for potential buy opportunities in this case, right? Because we are overall bullish. So first of all, we don't have typical support and resistance on XRP because we don't have enough data. That's why we go for what? For round numbers. And we can clearly see that we've got a very strong round number, which would be the round number 1, right? It's very, very clear and obvious. And yes, let's do it. And it happens to be that it's also what? A demand area, but I will not draw it because I want to make the chart clean. Right, but anyway, you already know now that it's the round number 1, which is a very, very strong one, and now we have the demand area. So as price approaches this area, we'll be looking forward for buy setups. So impulse, correction, impulse, and correction, we are looking for buy setups to catch the next impulse, which we expect the price to make a higher high, right? So that's the first key rejection area where we'll be looking for buy setups. Next, we have the next round number, which happens to be the all-time high and the round number 2. So look how XRP is respecting these round numbers. So now you know that they are very, very strong. The first one is the 1 was what? A demand zone, explosive movement upward, and the 2 was what? Also a supply zone, explosive movement downward. So now we know we can't really add anything else on daily time frame. So let's zoom into H4, but we know that XRP is currently sitting midway inside the support and resistance, right? So as price approaches the 1, we'll be looking for buy setups. From H4, we can even add another piece to our puzzle, and we can add this trend line, right? So high, and that's it. So by connecting these two lows, let me make it in blue. So this area is a very strong area to look for buy setups because it's the intersection of the 1, it's a zone, obviously, and anyway, it's a demand area. And as you can see, this blue trend line. So now we know that price is in a corrective phase, but it's about to end. And of course, we are not going to buy blindly here. We always look for extra confirmation and trigger, as XRP can still break this one downward before going up, or even break it downward and for a new bearish trend to start. That's why always wait for extra confirmation. If we zoom into H1 time frame, now things are getting even clearer, right? So for those who already watched the previous video, we've already entered a buy around here. Let me adjust it. Here we go. Right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and we entered a buy on this swing break upward. But anyway, let's now focus on the current price action for those who didn't buy yet. We can see that this one is now currently forming this channel, and we can make this offset, and that's it. Right? So we are currently in a bearish trend from a short-term perspective. So the price, as you can see, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So we are bearish, and you don't want to buy a bearish market. Of course, we are bullish from a long-term perspective, but since we are in a corrective phase from a long-term perspective, that's why you see a bearish trend on a lower time frame. So that's exactly what we want to see, because we want to catch the next impulse. So we want to see the correction. But this upper trend line is not valid yet. So as usual, we'll be waiting for a new swing to form around it, and then we'll buy on spec upward. And for those who have been following me for a while know that I highlight this one as what? As trigger. That's it. So first of all, oops. That's it, right? So that's exactly what we are waiting for now in XRP, waiting for this swing high to form around our upper red trend line to consider it valid, and then we'll enter buy on spec upward. Until this happens, XRP would be overall bearish and can still trade lower and lower. And of course, this is an entire support area or rejection area. In our case, it's a support where we'll be looking for buy setups. That's it for XRP. Let's move forward to the next one, which is BAT or BAT. As usual, we start from the daily and weekly time frames. Let's zoom in. We can clearly see that we are overall bullish, and I'll make it faster this time because I've already spent so much time on XRP, so we've got the overall idea, right? Also, we have this one round number, which is a very, very strong one, right? And it happens to be what? Also a demand area, as price made an aggressive movement upward from it. It's not that strong because the movement wasn't that aggressive, but it's still valid. And anyway, we've got the round number one. And of course, we've got this all-time high. So this one can act as a resistance area that price might reject before the price continue and trade higher. But anyway, that's what we know so far from a daily time frame. If we zoom into H4, we can also, just like XRP, we can draw the trend line. So we are currently trading inside this channel. The price is overall bullish. And of course, let's make it an blue. Yes, let's do it. And that's it. So as price approaches this area, it would be a very strong area to look for buy setups because what? It's a previous a minor. That's it. Minor resistance turned into a support again. That's first. Second, which is the main confluence, if you want to call it, is round number one, which is a very, very strong round number from 0.2 till 1.7 or 8. The strongest round number is the 1. And of course, we have the 0.5 and so on. But I'll keep the chart clean. So we are overall bullish, just like we did this example previously, right? Overall bullish, waiting for the correction to be about to end to catch the next impulse. Overall bullish, we are currently in the corrective phase. We'll be looking for buy to catch the next impulse, right? Very, very simple and straightforward. So now let's zoom into our time frames. And as mentioned before, we'll be looking for buy setups around this area, unless BAT closes below this entire area. Then we can say that now we have a shift in momentum from bullish to bearish, right? But anyway, let's focus on the current price action. For now, we are still bullish and we are looking for what? Correct, for buy setups only. So that's it. We can draw this trend line. Here we go. And as usual, I like to make an offset, even though it's not really important, this trend line, as we're going to enter on this trend line break upward, but I like to draw it as it makes it visually looks better, right? So we are currently, just like XRP, we are overall bearish from a short-term perspective. And now we are waiting for price to what? To form a new swing around our upper red trend line to consider it valid, and then we'll buy on spec upward. And of course, the price can still trade lower, form a new swing here or even here before breaking the trend line upward. But for now, I would draw it like this as it is easier and looks better, right? But you've got the idea. For those who are watching this video, it's not like a picture that you have to analyze, right? So we are overall bearish. We'll be waiting for a new swing to form around our trend line here, here, or here, and then enter buy on break upward. Meanwhile, under the price break above the previous high, would be overall bearish, and this one can still trade lower and lower to around this intersection of the blue and 1, or even break it downward as mentioned previously. That's it. This is what I'm waiting for on BAT to buy this one. And next we have FET. Again and again, let's go to daily time frame. We can see that we are overall bullish. However, here we can see that the sellers are taking over bit by bit. First of all, we had this break of structure and then the sellers broke below this area, then price retest this area and trade it lower. So we are currently what? Overall bearish from a medium-term perspective. And let's do it like this. And this, I like to make it in brown for the channels or trend lines from daily and weekly time frames. So that's it. That's what we know from the first glimpse, right? We can see that we have a lower low, but the price didn't make a lower high. Price didn't make a lower low yet to confirm that we are currently in a bearish trend. If this happens, then of course we can expect this movement like this. But it didn't happen yet. It's just an idea. And of course, as mentioned before, it will be confirmed if price managed to break below the previous low. For now, it's still an idea, and the price can still trade higher from here to make a new all-time high. So that's what we know so far, and we don't have typical support and resistance, right? Because the price kept making a new all-time highs. That's when we go, as usual, for round numbers and supply and demand zones. So from the 0 till around the 1, right? The strongest round number is where? Is the 0.5. And it happens that the price is currently sitting around this 0.5. Let me make it adjusted. 0.5, not 5.4. That's it, right? Price now currently sitting around the 0.5. And if price kept moving downward and breaks this 0.5 downward, we've got what? This demand area, an aggressive movement outward from it. So as price approaches it, we'll be looking for buy setups. But as mentioned before, this one is a little bit tricky, as price can still reject this demand and then reject this one and continue trading lower. So for those who would like to add this one to their portfolio, can look for buy setups here, and then we will monitor price action here. We want the buyers to prove that they are strong enough to break above this area. Then we can say that that our long is doing fine and nothing can block its way anymore to see a new all-time high. And of course, if price rejects this area, then of course we'll try and see if we've got a sell setup activated. Then we'll decide if we want to close our long or not. Anyway, I'm just giving you an idea about what might happen and how to behave. Right, and of course, for those like me who just like to buy and hold, no matter what. So it depends on your trading style, on your expectations, and on how you are going to treat the crypto world in general. Okay, so long story short, this is what we know so far. Let's make this one in green. That's it, right? So as price approaches this area, we'll be looking for buy setups, and meanwhile, we'll be looking for buy setups starting from here. But what we care about the most is this trend line. We want the buyers to break it so that we can know that nothing can block its way. If we go to H4 time frame, let me see if we can add anything. Yes, we can draw this trend line. That's it, right? So as price approaches this demand area, it will also be the intersection of this trend line. So as mentioned before, we'll be looking for buy setups. If we zoom into H1 time frame, anyway, now we have overlap with two demand areas. Let me delete this one. We can clearly draw this trend line, right? And let's make it in red. Let's make this one in blue. So the brown one is from daily, the blue one is from H4, and the red one is from H1. That's how I like to identify my levels. Of course, I like to make an offset so it looks better, and that's it, right? We can see that this trend line is currently not valid. It's only connecting two swings. So as usual, we'll be waiting for price to form a new swing around it, and then we'll enter buy on break upward. Cheers. Okay, so we still have one more, but anyway, let me give you a quick recap about FET. Let's make this one in gray for our trigger swing as usual, and that's it. So it's not the best setup. The best setup would be after price breaks above this trend line, and then on the retest, we can look for buy setups. So it depends on your trading style. If you are conservative, this is what you should be waiting for. If you are aggressive, you can enter immediately when this happens, and we'll monitor price action around this trend line to see if the buyers would break or the sellers would kick in, and then the price reverses. And again, the next support would be here. We'll be looking for new buy setups to fall. And meanwhile, as usual, this one would be until the buy is activated. This one would be overall bearish and can still trade lower and lower. And let me see if on M30, yes, we can draw the trend line, or we can also draw the trend line, but I will keep the one in red as it's following the current price action more. Last but not least, we have QSP. Many asked me about this one, so here we go. First, I found it really interesting, and here's why. First of all, we are currently in a bullish market, right? So the price was making higher highs and higher lows, and then again and again, the price made a higher low, so which means we are still bullish. So higher low, higher low, higher high, higher high. But now the price failed to make a higher high and instead made a lower high, which means that the buyers are tired and couldn't push any higher. And I like to include this example just to give you an idea on what to do in this case. So first of all, the bearish trend isn't confirmed yet, as we have an impulse correction, but we didn't have a break below the previous low yet, right? So we are still technically overall bullish. However, we can see that the correction this time is deeper than usual, because as you can see, impulse, small correction, impulse, and this correction lasted very long. Anyway, as per our rules, here we go. We've got what? We've got this trend line, and we can draw it like this or draw it like this. It doesn't really matter. That's it. And that's it. So this trend line is acting as a non-horizontal support. And we also have this one here. As you can clearly see, it was acting as resistance, and price broke it upward. The price broke it downward slightly and then rejected it upward. So now, as price is sitting above it and retesting it from the upper side, it's acting as what? As support. And it's like an add-on for this entire area. So this area is a very strong area to look for buy setups. Why? To catch the next impulse, because it's the intersection of this non-horizontal support, which is our main confluence, and this one, which acts as an add-on. And also, we can make it like 0.7. It's not a strong round number, but it's still fine, right? So, but it's not the strongest one. The strongest one would be the 1, the 1.5, the 0.5 in this case. And of course, the all-time high is our next rejection, which would be around the 0.15. So the 0.1 and 0.05 are the strongest round numbers. So long story short, that's what we know for now. We are looking for buy setups here, unless we have a break below this entire area and below this previous swing low. Then we can say that now we are currently in a bearish trend, and the bearish movement would be expected, right? But anyway, let's take it step by step. For now, we are overall bullish. We are approaching a strong support area, so we are looking for buy setups. And we can clearly see that, even we can see it from H4 time frame, that we can draw this trend line. It's not valid yet, as usual. It's only connecting two swings. As usual, I like to make an offset like this. So now, from a medium-term perspective, from H4, we'll be waiting for price to form a new swing high and then buy on spike upward. Let me draw an area in gray, and let me make this one only appear. Oops, I wanted to appear only on it. Yes, that's it. And this one as well. I don't want to see it on lower time frames, and I'll tell you why in a bit. So that's it from H4. If we zoom into H1, we can see that that's it. We can't really add anything else, except that, as usual, we have this very strong area to look for buy setups. If we zoom into M30 time frame, we can see that we can draw this trend line here. And this one is from H4, so we don't want to see it here. But anyway, if you would like, you can keep it so that you can know what's the overall movement that you expect. And that's it, right? So 1, 2, 3, it's already valid, but anyway, the price is now far away from it. So we need anyway a new swing to form around it. Let me make this one in orange, since we already have the upper one, which is in red, and this is the channel. So for now, while waiting for price to form a new swing around it, and then we'll buy on break upward. But again and again, for conservative traders, they should stick to the one from H4. So because price, as mentioned before, and just like the previous example on FET, the price can still reject this trend line and go down to form what? This swing that we are waiting for on H4, and then break this one upward. So for conservative traders like me, I call myself a conservative trader, I would wait for price. So the first scenario would be, we don't enter a buy here, we'll be waiting for this trend line. If we have this movement, then yes, we'll enter buy here. The second one is because the price can still break the trend line upward and continue trading higher. In this case, will not enter a buy here, and if price break this area upward, which would be also the swing, then we can look for buy side opportunities on the retest. In this case, it shouldn't be that strong, right? For example, we have a break on the retest, we could look for buy side ups, which would be the original entry of this previous channel. Anyway, it all depends on your trading style and how and your risk appetite. That's it. We've covered QSP, FET, BET, and XRP. Best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one. And of course, feel free to request any coin or instrument in the comment section below. I'll see you soon.